guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 6 battle of the League of Extraordinary Trainers. We are taking on Coach Doppelganger and the Mewcastle United, who is replacing Coach Mugen and the Western Weebs. So yeah, this is going to be fun. Let's just skip ahead a little bit here until we reach the team preview. Okay, team preview. So going into this match, in team preview, I notice he brought Carbink and Crocodile and Diggersby, which are all three of his four hazard setters. Diggersby with Spikes, Crocodile with Stealth Rocks, and Carbink with Stealth Rocks. He did not bring Empoleon, which is really good because that means he has absolutely no hazard removal. That's not relevant because I didn't even bring hazards. Sorry, it's been a while since we played this game, but I didn't bring hazards, but he didn't bring Empoleon to get the hazards away anyways. Empoleon was kind of his only Magearna resist, to be honest. Empoleon and Floatzel were realistically his only Magearna resists based on the moveset that I have. So that's looking really good. Also, he only has one form priority in Diggersby with Quick Attack, so and that can't hit Mimikyu. So Mimikyu is actually in a really good spot this week too. He did bring his 4x weakness in Steel in Carbink, so that's kind of cool. Looking at his team, we know Ditto's going to be Scarfed. There's no way that thing's not. I'm thinking one of the other three on the right there are Scarfed too. Potentially Crocodile, Tapu or Diggersby. I think he would bring double Scarfers against me potentially. But again, we have no idea. Yeah, so if you haven't seen my team builder, let's run through my team a little bit quickly here. We are bringing Choice Scarfed, physically offensive Mienshao. We are bringing pretty standard Life Orb Mimikyu. We're bringing physically defensive Rotom-Heat for the Darmanitan that I do not see. So Rotom-Heat does pretty much nothing except burn his physical threats, hopefully. Megalodios, which is specially offensive Megalodios, not set up at all, just a nuker. Set up Magearna with Shift Gear, 3 attacks. And Normalium Z, Licky Licky. It's actually only a 2-attack Licky Licky with Double Edge, Earthquake, Wish, Protect. Yeah, so I'm hoping a lot of stuff can do work. I see that Licky Licky actually does a ton of work against his team. Licky Licky bops Tapu Lele and tanks a hit. It also bops Crocodile, and it can eat a hit from +2 Life Orb Diggersby too, which is absolutely insane. I love this Mon now. Looking at his team, he did bring one Z user in Diggersby, so Diggersby could be Z move. I actually didn't think of that at the time, but I'm noticing it now. Pangoro is his other Z captain, which he did not bring. I was expecting to see Darmanitan, Empoleon, and Floatzel. Instead, he brought the Crocodile and the Carbink, which I was not expecting to see. I'm not happy to see Mega Venusaur, but that thing is really bulky, so I guess it was coming for sure. I'm also not really happy to see the Tapu Lele, especially if it's Choice Scarfed. I'm not a fan of that. So yeah, looking at his team, realistically, the only thing he's going to want to lead is Carbink or Crocodile. If he's Spike stacking Diggersby, he might want to lead that too. But I'm just going to lead Mienshao anyways, especially if he leads Crocodile. Even at -1, a U-turn is going to do so much to that thing. He also does not have a Ghost type on his team, so I can just freely click High Jump Kick if I feel like it, and it'll probably kill the Crocodile turn 1 too. So I'm going to lead my Mienshao, and we'll see what Michael leads. It's going to be interesting. Not really. It's kind of predictable if you think about his team. He is going to lead the Carbink, so that's the idea here. I'm just going to click U-turn, turn 1, and Carbink is going to set up the rocks as I bring up Magearna. Now Magearna threatens this thing out instantly unless he just wants to sack it, which is what he's going to do, and Magearna is going to pick up the first kill of the match on turn 2, which is pretty nice. Also gets our Soul Heart boost. I'm expecting Ditto to come out here, which is exactly what happens. Copy my boost, so now we're both a +1 Magearna. I should be technically doing a little bit more damage than he is. Looks like he got on the higher roll, and I got on the lower roll because it looks like it's around the same. In theory, because he's not copying my HP stat, I should be doing slightly more damage to him than he would be to me. But we do confirm that he is Choice Scarfed unless he just won a Speed Tie, which is what Ditto typically is. So my switch into Flash Cannon here is my Rotom-Heat. Rotom-Heat's not going to be doing anything. I should mention, actually I should have mentioned at the beginning that this battle is a recreate. We got almost to the end of this battle, and then Nintendo booted both of us because we were both still online on Plaza. So something happened there that was weird. So it's worthy to note that this is a recreate, and once I click a certain move, I will go into a little more depth on what we exactly had to recreate. So yeah, this is what's happening here. So we're going to go into our Rotom-Heat here, which is going to take absolutely nothing from Flash Cannon, plus rocks. Sorry, it took the rocks damage, but TJ sped up the video a little bit, so you didn't see that. Yeah, so now he's going to go out into Mega Venusaur, and you'll see that I'm going to click Sleep Talk. So Sleep Talk is actually a replacement for Will-O-Wisp. I did miss a few Will-O-Wisps this game, and I didn't even hit one. So because we had to recreate, and that's kind of a pain to recreate an 85% accurate move missing. I think, yeah, I click it 3 times, but I missed it twice. So to recreate that happening, I actually have Thunder Wave on this Rotom-Heat, and it will go down at some point in the battle. Spoiler, Rotom-Heat dies when their Stealth Rock's up. I know. But because I didn't click Thunder Wave at all, we determined that it was just easier for me to teach it Sleep Talk over Thunder Wave and use it on the turns that I had missed Will-O-Wisp to speed the process up, and so that we only had to recreate once. There are 2 more instances besides the Will-O-Wisp of hacks that could potentially have changed the game, and we would have had to recreate again. So that's just the start of this, and then I'll get into it more once we get to those points. Just to touch on the Will-O-Wisp miss here, it's actually kind of big, that we'll also see later. I'll touch on that point when we get to there, but the Will-O-Wisp miss on Mega Venusaur here is crucial because I want to get as much residual damage off on the Venusaur as possible. I want to make him click Synthesis as much as I can to waste his synthesises. That's the idea. Yeah, so we've taken quite a bit of damage here, so I'm actually just going to click Pain Split. I have no idea if I'm faster than this thing or not. I'm not running any speed, and the fact that I am faster lets me know that he's also running pretty much no speed on this thing, which benefits me knowing that he's more of a defensive Mega Venusaur rather than an offensive Mega Venusaur. There's not a ton that he could outspeed, but he could speed tie something like Mamoswine, so that's worthy to note that that he's actually chosen to opt out of speed tying Mamoswine. We are just going to click Volt Switch out here. We are just going to Volt Switch out here after we got Toxic. I'm not too concerned about Toxic. Obviously Toxic can't miss from a poison type, so that's kind of beneficial for the recreate as well, that he didn't have to miss any Toxics. But now our wall is Toxic. Again, I don't care about this wall. Realistically, the only thing it's going to do is potentially burn Diggersby or burn Crocodile later in the game. He didn't bring very physically offensive Mons, so I kind of just wanted to get as much residual as possible. Again, he did bring 2 ground types, so Thunder Wave wasn't really as useful as I thought it might be either. But we're going to Volt Switch the heck on out of there into... That crit didn't matter, by the way. The crit did not happen in the original, but the crit did not matter at all because he's just going to click Synthesis here anyways. We're going to go into our Mega Latios, and we are going to drop a Draco here. So this Draco is potentially one of the things that could have stopped our recreate because it is a 90% accurate move. It's going to do quite a bit, and now I know from the roll, he's just going to click Toxic again here, by the way. But I know from this roll that I actually can't kill him with a Psychic here, but I'm going to try it anyways in case I get a crit, because I have been lucky. And you see, with that much health, oh, if he was burned, okay, if he was burned, and so after the Draco he takes the burn damage, that Psychic actually kills, which could potentially blow this game in a wildly different direction. So that Will-O-Wisp miss is actually kind of huge. I'm not sure why it doesn't work the same as Toxic, where fire types just get Will-O-Wisp to hit always, but I don't know. But Mega Venusaur lives, and he's going to click Synthesis here and get up to a reasonable amount of HP. At this point, I'm going to predict him to go for another Synthesis, so I'm going to switch out into my Mienshao. hopefully not get this thing toxic because we are not Regenerator. And he is just going to go for the Synthesis again and get himself back up to full health. We're going to click U-turn here and go into our Rotom-Heat again. Take some more rocks damage, but we're going to stop the toxic from doing anything. Yeah, I think I just go for... Oh, this is the second Will-O-Wisp. I did predict him to switch out, or I was just going to get another burn, or I was going to get a burn on the Mega Venusaur. This would have been huge if the Will-O-Wisp hit the Diggersby. Oh, Will-O-Wisp, why do you fail me? If we could have burned the Diggersby, Diggersby is one of the biggest offensive threats to my team now that he didn't bring Darmanitan. Burning that thing cripples it completely, and all of a sudden Diggersby is completely useless. I am just going to click Will-O-Wisp again here because I know I can take a hit since I'm physically defensive, and he's going to double into Ditto, turning into me, and this is the final Will-O-Wisp. Obviously he eats the Will-O-Wisp anyways. I could have actually just clicked Will-O-Wisp there because I know he's going into Ditto. Yeah. At this point, he's going to click Pain Split, which is actually the best play on his part as a Ditto, but I know he's Scarfed, so I can Volt Switch into my Mimikyu and start setting up for free on this thing, because all he can do to me is Pain Split. So we are going to go into our Mimikyu and get a free Swords Dance up as he's going to double out into Crocodile. Notice we see no Intimidate, which means he's Moxie. That could have been a mistake in prep on his part because he's now going to die to the Play Rough. We also note that he's not Scarfed, so he can't break our Disguise. He's just going to bring out Mega Venusaur here and break our Disguise as we set up another ST. I did need to be +4 for Shadow Claw to kill this thing. Energy Ball is kind of interesting tech. I was expecting like Sludge Bomb or something. But now, +4 Shadow Claw is going to kill the Mega Venusaur. Unfortunately, our Disguise is popped, so Ditto basically gets a free transformation into Mimikyu here, but he has to decide what he wants to click. I am just going to go into my Rotom-Heat here because Rotom-Heat is completely useless at this stage in the game at the health it is at, and we're just going to sack it off to the Mimikyu. I didn't think about this too much, but I went into my Mienshao here. This is actually a speed tie, funnily enough, because he's Scarfed. He's Scarf Ditto, transformed into my Mimikyu, which is max speed Mimikyu. So he's Scarfed with a base 96 speed stat, and my Mienshao was actually EV to outspeeds, outspeed to Scarf's, EV to outspeed Scarf Darmanitan or Scarf Tapu Lele, which are both base 95, meaning my Mienshao is actually a base 96. It's a base 96 speed stat, essentially. For the purposes of this discussion, it's a base 96 speed stat, even though it's a 105. I know that, but it's EV'd like a base 96 would be with its speed. So this is actually a speed tie because we're technically both Scarf base 96, and I win the speed tie. I did win the speed tie in the Recreate as well. This is something that we overlooked until right at the end when I realized it, but we're going to get the knockoff here, and we're going to KO the Mimikyu. Sorry, Ditto. Now comes the Tapu Lele. I need to get the heck on out of here, and I'm going to go into my Magearna, which can eat a hit from the Tapu Lele, or so I think. Actually, in Psychic Terrain, Psychic just blows back my Magearna. We did have to run a lot of speed, so I didn't have very much HP investment. I'll go to my Mimikyu here because I know that I'm faster. Well, I'm hoping that I'm faster, and I'm hoping that I'll live a Psychic. And I'm going to click Shadow Claw, and we will see that this Tapu Lele is actually Kasib Berry. Really good prep on Doppel's part, and we're going to die to the Psychic. I'm pretty sure that was going to kill me regardless. Mimikyu does have a really high special defense stat, but as soon as I send out Mienshao here, right here, this is where we DC'd. So initially, I had clicked Poison Jab before it had booted us out from the game, but I decided against that in the Recreate because I was allowed to. Because the turn didn't go through, I was allowed to change moves. So in the Recreate, I decided that Knockoff was my best play, considering he has a full health Diggersby left and a Tapu Lele left. What I know after the battle, Knockoff was not the best play. However, this is fine, because I know that Mienshao can beat the Diggersby 1v1. I will outspeed him if he is Scarf Diggersby, which I'm expecting it to be now that I've seen the Crocodile is not Scarfed and Tapu Lele is not Scarfed. I'm expecting it to be Scarfed. So I'm going to click Knockoff here, hoping to be able to sack something else and then get Mienshao back in afterwards. I'm not sure what Toxic there. Oh, that's... I still have Mienshao, Megalodios, and Licky left. So I'm going to click Knockoff here. and the roll said it was going to kill. I actually get the absolute min roll, and he lives, and Psychic will kill me, obviously, in Psychic terrain. Now I'm going to go into Megaladios here, which I know can outspeed this thing. Licky Licky obviously can't, so I'm just going to click Psychic, because I'm in the Psychic terrain, why not? I don't want to reveal that I have Surf yet either. And now he's going to go into Diggersby, and I'm going to click Surf, hoping that I can do something. Otherwise, Licky Licky bops this thing with a Z double edge, and we actually kill it. He's not Scarfed. So we do pick up the win, 2-0. Tapu Lele picking up 3 kills, even though it probably shouldn't have had any, to be honest. I'm just going to stop it here. That's the idea. I did find out after the game that his Diggersby was Electrium Z to deal with my Manaphy. So I guess it was Z Thunder Punch to deal with my Manaphy, but I didn't even bring Manaphy, so that's fun. He did say that he was expecting Z Rain Dance Manaphy out of me, which is actually what I brought the week before against Mike. This is the last week that Manaphy will be a Z Captain. It's also worthy to note that I made some drops for week 7. We did drop our Delmise for Nidoking, and we dropped Rhydon for Tangela. Sort of get our hazard stacking ability back with Nidoking for dropping Rhydon, and get our grass type back with Tangela. The only thing we lost realistically is a hazard remover, which I'm not too worried about. My team is not very weak to hazards at all, and Megaladios is still a hazard remover if I need it. It's usually good to have more than one hazard remover, but I feel like Tangela is going to do my team better than Delmise would by just sitting there and being a brick wall for things to break through, as well as getting things like Sleep Powder. I'm really excited to use Tangela, to be completely honest. It's a good knockoff user too. Gives me another knockoff user, as well as Mamoswine and Mienshao. And I only brought Rhydon to 1 game. I know it can be really good as a double dance sweeper. Corona used Rhyperior, its older brother, really well in his match this week. He actually ran Rock Polish Sword Stance and got a clean 5-0 victory with that thing this week. So I know Rhydon could have been more useful. I didn't actually see it coming to a ton of games. It's not great when I have to pop in a Violite on Rhydon, whereas Corona just has Rhyperior sitting there doing work, and it can run things like Leftovers or like a Choice Band or Rindo Berry or something like that, whereas Rhydon just gets bopped by water and grass type moves. So we did lose 2 4x weaknesses, which actually bolsters our team a little bit better. Tangle is obviously not 4x weak to anything because it's only got 1 typing, and Nidoking being ground plus poison is only weak to ground itself and water, I think. So yeah, and it's another good fairy killer alongside Magearna, which I'm happy about, because fairies kind of wall Megaladios, and I didn't have the best fairy killer on my team. Well, I mean, Magearna is an excellent fairy killer, don't get me wrong. Yeah, but Nidoking's better for beating on the Steel Fairy types, like something like a Klefki kind of hard walls my team. So I feel like these drops rounded out a little bit more. We are sitting at 4-2 now. I can't remember the differential. I think it's maybe +6, +8, something like that. We are 1 game behind Corona, despite the fact that we beat him. So we're kind of hoping for Corona to lose at some point so that we can pick up a win and jump ahead of him. Next week we play ST and the Westbrook War Turtles. Interesting match. ST's got a really good team. Things like Landers Incarnate, things like Tapu Fini, things like Alakazam, all really good mods. I'm kind of scared of his team, to be completely honest. Yeah, that's going to be it for me, and I will see you guys for our team builder for Week 7 of the League of Extraordinary Trainers, taking on ST and the Westbrook War Turtles.